Maya's consciousness surfaced through layers of cryofog, her neural implants struggling to sync with the station's temporal matrix. Something sharp tugged at her scalp, not painful but insistent. Her eyes flickered open to find 3 bioengineered fox cubs perched on her sleeping pod, their luminescent amber eyes fixed on her with unmistakable disapproval. "Commander Maya," the largest cub announced through its vocoder collar, its synthetic voice carrying an edge of bureaucratic impatience. "You are 17 minutes late for our scheduled briefing. This is unacceptable." She blinked, her augmented vision slowly calibrating to the low blue light of the observation deck. The cub's genetically modified intelligence agents bred in the Kepler 442b laboratories sat in perfect formation, their tails swishing in synchronized irritation. Each wore a collar embedded with quantum processors more powerful than the computers that had once guided humanity to Mars. "I was in deep cycle sleep," Maya croaked, her throat dry from the cryopreservation fluids. "The mission to the Void Rim was supposed to take 6 months. How long? 3 years, 2 months, 14 days. The middle cub interrupted, its small paws tapping against the pod's surface with impossible precision. The temporal distortion around the singularity was more severe than predicted. Also, you missed 247 briefings. We kept count. Maya sat up, her muscles protesting after the extended suspension. Through the panoramic viewport, she could see the Helix station rotating slowly against the backdrop of the Andromeda Milky Way collision zone, a cosmic catastrophe unfolding over millions of years, now compressed into a spectacular light show by the time dilation fields humanity had learned to manipulate. "Where's Burek?" she asked, suddenly aware of the silence that should have been filled with her partner's presence. "He was supposed to wake first, run the diagnostics." The smallest cub, barely larger than her hand, stepped forward. Its voice was softer, almost apologetic. "Operative Burek's situation is ... complicated. That's why we initiated emergency revival protocols. The briefing cannot wait." Maya's combat instincts flared to life. She swung her legs off the pod, ignoring the vertigo as her inner ear adjusted to the station's artificial gravity. "Take me to him, now." The cubs exchanged glances, a remarkably human gesture for creatures whose DNA had been rewritten in 100 different ways. The lead cub nodded, and they bounded toward the corridor, their claws clicking against the deck plating in a rhythm that reminded Maya of a countdown timer. As they moved through the station's serpentine passages, Maya noticed the changes. The walls hummed with new energy signatures. Holographic markers she didn't recognize pulsed in languages that hadn't existed when she'd entered cryosleep. The air tasted different, sharper, filled with particles she couldn't identify. "The coalition fell while you slept," the lead cub explained without being asked. "The synthesis wars ended. We won, if you can call it winning. Humanity merged with the machines. Most people now exist as distributed consciousness across the quantum foam. Physical bodies are ... retro. And Burek?" The cubs led her to a sealed chamber at the station's core. Through the transparent aluminum viewport, Maya saw him, or what remained of him. Burek floated in a containment field, his body partially deconstructed into geometric patterns of light and matter. His face phased in and out of solidity, expression frozen in a moment between terror and transcendence. "He woke first, as planned," the middle cub continued. "Ran the diagnostics. Discovered that the Void Rim expedition had brought something back. Something that exists outside conventional spacetime. It infected his neural implants, began rewriting his quantum signature." Maya pressed her hand against the viewport. Burek's eyes, when they manifested, seemed to track her movement. "Is he conscious? Can he understand me?" "He exists in superposition," the smallest cub explained, its voice heavy with a sorrow that seemed too deep for its engineered nature. "Simultaneously aware and unaware, human and something else. The entity from the Void Rim is trying to translate itself into our reality using him as a template. If it succeeds, it will overwrite baseline reality within a 30-light-year radius," the lead cub finished. "Everything you know, everyone you've ever known, will be recompiled according to alien physics. The briefing we needed concerns your choice, Commander. Maya's reflection stared back at her from the viewport superimposed over Burek's fragmenting form. 3 years gone in what felt like a single breath. The universe transformed in her absence? And now this impossible decision. What choice? She whispered, though she already knew the answer. The lead cub's ears flattened against its skull. The station's AI has calculated 10,000 scenarios. Only one preserves both Burek and human-compatible reality. We collapse the containment field, allow the entity to fully manifest through him. And then you, wearing a prototype negative mass exosuit, enter the singularity moment and convince it to stop. Convince an entity that exists outside space-time? Maya laughed bitterly. With what? Logical arguments? Appeals to morality it can't comprehend? No, the smallest cub said, moving closer to her. With the one thing that transcends dimensional boundaries. The reason you and Operative Burek requested assignment together, despite regulations against paired deep space operatives. The variable that makes humans more than sophisticated biological machines. Maya looked at the cub, then back at Burek's dissolving form. She thought of their last conversation before cryosleep. His hand in hers, his promise that they'd see the Andromeda collision together. She thought of all the briefings she'd missed, all the changes she'd slept through, and the single constant that remained. Love, she said simply. You're saying I convince it with love? The cubs nodded in unison. The lead cub's vocoder crackled with something that might have been hope. The entity seeks understanding. Show it what connection means. Show it why individual existence matters. Show it Burek through your eyes, and perhaps it will choose coexistence over consumption. Maya closed her eyes, feeling the weight of 3 years and an impossible task settling onto her shoulders. When she opened them again, her reflection had changed. No longer the uncertain explorer who departed for the Void Rim, but something harder. Something ready. Prep the exosuit, she commanded. And cubs? Thank you for keeping count of those briefings. After this, I promise I'll attend every single one. The smallest cub's tail swished once, possibly a smile, in its language. We'll hold you to that, Commander. The universe has gotten strange enough that we need humans like you to help us remember what matters. As they led her toward the preparation bay, Maya took one last look at Burek's fragmenting form. Somewhere in that quantum chaos, he was waiting, and she would find him even if it meant diving into the space between spaces, where tiny teeth of reality itself might tug at the fabric of who she was. The briefing, it seemed, was finally about to begin.